Hey, this is Matt once again. We're back to another video, and this is a paid request for Ryan. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour or full playthrough, tier list, rankings, reviews, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal, to have a Cash App as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. For those who sent them, thank you. I do appreciate it. And this is for, like I said, Ryan. One of a few Futurama episodes he wanted me to review, this time being Meanwhile, which at one point was meant to be the final episode of the show, because this was in 2013. I think it was concluded until 2023, I think they brought it back. But yeah, season 7, episode 26, Meanwhile. And this I thought was kind of interesting episode. I thought it kind of had a bit of a sweet, yeah, I mean, a little bit of a cop-out at one point, but kind of a sweet, interesting episode that did get a couple chuckles out of me. I didn't grow up with Futurama like others did. I do remember seeing the show when it debuted for a couple episodes, but I don't know if I just lost interest or something else came up and life got in the way, but I never kept up with the show. And the only times I've seen it since is when Ryan requests a review. And the stuff I've seen, I have not minded. There's been a couple anthology episodes he requested. Like, one was interesting because each one was done in a different, like, animated style. And then there's been a couple he requested a little bit more emotional episodes, like this one. And, you know, it's nice to have a bit of that emotion mixed in with the comedy so it feels a bit more, something more tangible with it, if that makes sense. First off, I like that at the very beginning of the title it says Avenge Us. As in, hey, this is the last episode. Avenge us, people. Because I'm sure that's a show that was screwed around by time slots and the network, just like Family Guy and other shows were, aside from The Simpsons. But we're on the moon, which was one of the first places they went to at the beginning of the show. They even mentioned that. And Fry, our lead, who was in 1999, Dawn of the Millennium, got frozen and thrust into the future. Her and Leela, voiced by Miss Bundy from Married with Children, who has the, in here, Leela with the one eyeball. They are together. Fry gets a balloon for Leela. Also, Bender's with them. I thought this was a funny bit where Bender has these two corn dogs. He sits down for a ride, and the kid goes, "Can I have one?" Well, actually, no. He asks, "You want a corn dog?" "Sure." "Well, then your mom should have bought you one." I thought that was pretty funny. I mean, it's an asshole thing to say, but I like that. "You want a corn dog?" "Well, your mom should have bought one." That did make me laugh. I thought that was pretty funny. So during the rides, an accident happens. A ride goes haywire, and Leela is thrown out of the dome because this is on the moon, and she's thrown to space. Fry is sad because she's dying. He thinks she died, and he never got a chance to tell her, propose to her. But she survived because they found, the guards found this. I like the bit where, "I'm sorry about your wife." "I'm not married." "Oh, then it's good." It's like, oh, so nothing to worry about. And then they leave. And you find out that Leela actually survived because she was in this thing and used the balloon from the Leela balloon as air to survive until she got back. So because of that, now Fry's adamant of telling her how he feels. Meanwhile, the professor has made this button that could go back for 10 seconds. In fact, he uses it to take this money from this guy, from what, I forget the guy's name, but one of their crew. "Oh, look, I found this money." "Oh, cool." 10 seconds. "I found this, I don't know where the money went." Fry steals the device, is going to propose to Leela, But what happens is he put the ring in this big clam and it cuts her hand off. He's like, oh my god, what? Oh, I could do this. And then goes back 10 seconds and stabs the thing so it doesn't cut her hand off again. Then says, okay, I'll have this proposal. Meet me at the top of this building at this time. He does. He thinks she doesn't arrive. Oh, that means she doesn't love me. He jumps off. Then he realizes that it's 5 minutes off his watch because he kept using the time thing. So now he's kept and stuck in this perpetual loop that he's fallen because it's only 10 seconds to go back. When he goes back, he can't quite reach the ledge. So he keeps going to his death and he keeps doing the time thing for 10 seconds. Then it gets to a point where he lands and she has the device and she'll do the 10 seconds. I do like the line that she has with, he has a lot of blood for a skinny guy. I thought that was pretty funny, dark humor. The professor and the others realize what's going on, so they use this protection dome thing to get to where they need to go. They come up with an idea to put some cushions and such. So they save Fry, but inadvertently, during all this, the professor gets zapped. You think to death. Something about if you're in the dome protection thing, and then you come out and the thing is hit, you evaporate or zapped out of existence. Something like, I mean, you're not supposed to pay attention to the science of it. So what happens is, amidst Fry landing, fucks up the device. So now everybody in the universe is frozen except Fry and Leela. And then the rest of the episode is they don't know really what to do, so they spend their lives enjoying the world, and you see them get older. And like, weirdly enough, that was kind of sweet because you kind of figure where it's going, that this is going to be fixed by the end of it. So it's like, okay, it says everything's frozen. They can walk on the ocean. There's a dog with a frisbee, so they play frisbee with the dog as the frisbee is attached to the frisbee. They go to a zoo and they make some pandas and stuff for a bed and a pillow. They go to all these special monuments and they see the world, and you see how they get older and that they really care for each other. It's kind of sweet. And then they decide to have champagne. They keep seeing this thing, this, what do you call it, this rip through time. You find out it's the professor. He didn't really get zapped. He went somewhere else. He can find a way to bring them back to where before all this started. And pretty much Fry and Leela go, because you realize, and they realize, they're not going to have a memory of this time they spent. So they go, you want to go around again? And she goes, I do. Kind of like that's the yes to the proposal. Now, them not remembering anything, I feel that's the cop-out. Because I'm sure they did that in case somehow, some way, which eventually they did, I guess 10 years later, if they eventually came back, maybe in this time they thought a year, 2 years, they didn't want to have Fry and Leela married as a couple and such. They still want to play that off. So, it's why they only do a certain amount of stuff on The Simpsons. And I remember the whole thing would be like, oh my god, Marge is dead. I'm like, no, she's not. That's why I never said anything about it. I'm like, in the recent bits, there was one of those future episodes where they go like 10, 15, 20 years in the future. And, oh, in this one, Marge is dead and says hi from heaven. But I'm like, they've done everything. They did a future where they were old and, like, Bart was, like, oh, Lisa was president of the United States, and then Bart was this, then Bart was jobless, then Bart was a construction worker. They just do whatever they want. They do whatever jokes they can. They don't really take any of that seriously. And they just go, it's a possible future, so That whole thing for like 5 minutes, like what was it, a month or so ago? Oh my God, they killed Marge. I'm like, no, they didn't. Calm down. Because I know they wouldn't do that. They would get rid of Apu for he is troublesome. He's un-PC. I'm like, only to pussies. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, to have it be like, oh, they don't forget, they don't have memory loss of this, they don't have any memory. I'm like, okay, I know what you're doing. You're hoping, you're going to eventually get another season, and then the same dynamic between Fry and Leela will be there. I get it. Sometimes you go, well, remember Moonlighting, Bruce Willis, Sybil. You didn't want them to get together. Then when they did get together, the show was less interesting. That doesn't mean that's the way for every fucking thing. Okay? I'm glad Mulder and Scully finally got together. Some of those seasons weren't that great, but it wasn't because of that, in my opinion. At least the way I look at it. So I didn't like that cop-out ending, but I do like the kind of how they grew older and they seem very sweet on each other, and the I do, kind of like as a proposal, and the wise shot. It seems like, okay, they had at least somewhat of life together. I don't know how about being an ending. Like, let's say there wasn't the 2023 or whatever revival. This being the ending of the show, and you don't have a whole lot of the other characters, like you don't have a whole lot of Bender. Okay, if you really want to commit to an end of the show, what I think you could do, what they could have done, should have done, might, they'll never do, have them go back to the past. They go back to 1999, they're stuck there, and then the rest can go back, but then Leela decides to stay there, and that way Fry gets in touch with his family, his dog, start a business there to still be funny and still goof and be silly, and she's the one with the job and he's the one doing whatever. But they're together. I mean, you could do that stuff. There's a lot of other stuff you could do. This, I mean, just seemed like with those two and the nice emotional bits, okay, that could work for your finale. But I would think like a lot of other people like, oh wow, okay, well you don't have a lot with this character or this character. It seems like something that Bender should have been with those two. I actually think that could have made it a bit funnier, where Bender's with those two, and so like those two doing romantic things, then Bender's doing all this stuff that's pretty funny. And then maybe as the years come and go, like Bender actually becomes more tolerant of them in a weird way, and he decides to marry them, or that proposal, whatever, with the champagne. Well, I think they get married, or well, anyway. So it's like the three of them spent time, and like we have a nicer Bender, so they'll do the no memory, so he'll go back to being the dickhead Bender again. Maybe something like that could have been interesting. But I thought the way those two loved each other at the end, and the I do, there was a certain sweetness to it, which is nice. And because in a way you do get to see them spend a lifetime together, yeah, there's some sweetness there, is what I'm saying. I keep repeating it. It just, the whole going back with no memory, again, it's a bit of a cheap, bit of a cop-out, for the reason I said before. It would have been nice if some of the other characters were incorporated more other than the very beginning. But, I mean, there were some funny bits. Like I said, the whole 10-second thing where he teased Fallen, or the stuff with the clam taking off her hand, or, like I said, the stuff with Bender at the beginning. There's some funny moments, there's some sweet moments. Overall, It was fine. I do wonder what more of a hardcore fan would feel about this if this was the ending. Like, someone that really followed the show from beginning to end. Not someone like me who just saw, a couple episodes. I've seen a couple. But someone who really followed it for all those 7 seasons. Was this a happy ending to you? Was it not? Either way, it doesn't matter because they did bring it back, so you do have that. Overall, I didn't mind it for what it was. And there you go. I'd just be repeating myself for the rest of it. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.